Hey everybody, Chris, MTGO's Rex Start here, and we're covering the finals of the Tribal Apocalypse for April 6, 2013. We have Nagarjuna, who is playing Rat Reanimator. Excuse me. Still a little bit of a cough from this week. Seems like I've been sick for a month. Versus Slug 360, who is playing Spellshapers. Took down Mia Hitlor in their matchup of the Undefeateds in round 3, and earned the right to play Nagarjuna in the playoff, since Nagarjuna was the other undefeated, got paired down, and won his match. Nagarjuna, I played against him. He beat me 2-1. He's got Imperial Archangel, and Elish Norn. I don't know what his other targets are. Those are the ones he used against me. Slug is playing Spellshapers, discarding Squee, Goblin, Nabob, and bringing it back for repeated effect. And we have a Nezumi Bone Reader. Now, all these things act for both discard for the opponent and discard to enable Nagarjuna to get his own guys in. So he mulled to 5 and kept that. So I don't think he has much of a hand, but we'll see. He may have an Animate Dad and a Fatty still in his hand that would let him do something with this Bone Reader. Dawn Strider is a 1/1, fogs the board for discarding a card from Mercanian Mask's block. One of the Dryads I've played around with before, trying various Dryad decks. I had a Fauna Shaman Vengevine Dryad thing. You get extra space if you try a Dryad deck because you get to play Dryad Arbors, so you can throw all sorts of crazy stuff in there. Pack Rat comes down, and now he's at 3 mana. So if he wants, he can just make this a Pack Rat game and try to go off that way. Pack Rat, for those of you who didn't play Return to Ravnica Sealed or have blocked it out of your mind because of how terrorizing it was. Alright, Pack Rat's coming in. Could be up to a 3/3 if you wanted it to be. Alright, we've got Dawn Strider Squee going on here. Now, I don't think Nagarjuna has any... I know he has a Terastodon also. That won't help against Dawn Strider. The Imperial Archangel won't really help against it. I think he's going to need to get to Elish Norn. If he can rip an Entomb... Again, I don't know what his 3 is here, and he's not discarding anything to the Pack Rat. I think he would have there if he had a Fatty, unless he's really just going for the Element of Surprise, because if he had the Fatty, he could have drawn a Reanimation spell there and needed the mana. So I think if he had one in hand, he would have discarded it there. So I'm guessing he's going to be sitting on possibly an Animate Dead or a Reanimate and nothing else. Now that can be good for him because he can probably stall this game out pretty long. I saw Slug's deck play earlier, and it is not fast. It sits back on all this sort of recurring card advantage of being able to pitch that Squee every turn. And right now it's basically just hiding behind a Dawn Strider. Now he will be able to start if he wants, if Nagarjuna is not going to put the pressure on him so that he doesn't have to discard if that Dawn Strider, then he can start just using the Llanowar Mentor instead. So if I was Nagarjuna, I would try to just beat in with that Pack Rat every turn to at least keep the pressure up so that Slug has to use that. Assuming he has something he's willing to discard, he can at least get to a 3 there. Yeah, see, this is what's going to happen if he doesn't force Slug to use the Dawn Strider. Slug's just going to use the Llanowar Mentor every turn off of that Squee. When I saw Owain playing against Slug earlier, Owain was on Mystics, the human nomad Mystics. All 5 Mystics are humans and nomads also, but most Mystic Enforcer and the Mystic Crusader, the 2 most famous ones. And he just kept beating in with the Mystic Enforcers, forcing him to use this fog ability every turn. Alright, Chandra Blaze is going to come down, and he's going to discard a card. Yeah, okay. And it checks, I guess, on resolution whether the card discarded was red. So Squee giving Chandra a little bit of play here. Conley Woods famously tried to build a Chandra Blaze deck. Nobody else I know ever did or heard of on the Pro Tour level. So I'll highlight it here for a sec so you can all take a look. Ultimate, I haven't seen a lot in Slug's deck to take advantage of that ultimate. I don't know what kind of red instant and sorcery cards he might have that he can... of course, he can pitch them to Spellshapers and then cast them back later with Chandra's ultimate, but I think he's probably just using that +1 to repeatedly discard those squeeze and get his advantage that way. Alright, well now the Nezumi Bone Reader's going to swing in. He's tapped out here, so... Okay, he's just going to take the 1 to Chandra. That sounds fine. There's really no reason not to there. Again, I don't really think he's going for that ultimate. And he doesn't really need the -2 right now, so... And he probably doesn't want to use the -2, because it's going to let Nagarjuna dump whatever he wants. Oh, a Crypt Rats. Very nice. Pauper All-Star Crypt Rats comes down. And he can crypt immediately for 1, wipe the Dawn Strider, the Llanowar Mentor, and both of Nagarjuna's own guys, but I think that's the play. And what's he going to do? Oh, okay, he's going to go ahead and make the... Now, Dawn Strider is combat damage, not all damage, so Crypt Rats will get through regardless of that. When and if he wants to use it. Now, keep in mind, though, that's leaving this Chandra Blaze on the field, and then he's just doing 4 a turn to Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna's got to come up with something. Obviously, the Mold of 5 was not very good. Probably the one flaw of this kind of deck is its Reanimator. It doesn't have the space for all the cantrips that's played in Legacy Reanimator. And whenever these decks play against me, they usually have gangbusters hands every time. But they obviously are prone to having weak hands, mulliganing poorly. But I mean, you could mulligan to 3 and still win if it's a Swamp, an Entomb, and a Reanimate. So you're giving yourself a lot of shots here. I don't know if his hand was really this anemic, if he might have wanted to go to 4 instead of staying on that 5. Ooh, another Dawn Strider comes down. So Crypt Rats is going to wipe the board, but another Dawn Strider in pocket for Slug, who was holding it back. And let's see, it's going to take 4 turns to kill Nagarjuna with Chandra. May as well use that here. You're not going to need the Dawn Strider. Well, in fact, you just played it, so... Yeah, may as well use Chandra and Squee here. Given the amount of both Squee and this Reanimator deck here, just a reminder that Surgical Extraction exists. Just letting you guys know. Seems like every week we see something. I didn't run it this week, so who am I talking? But I'm just saying it does. What is he? Wow, okay, maybe he's got a second reanimation spell. I'd hate to think he blew his 1 reanimation. What is he going to reanimate? The Crypt Rats, so that he can take out the other Dawn Strider. Now I would... Let's see. That's going to lose him 3 life. Now that does put him to 12, which makes him dead to 3 attacks from Chandra's +1 rather than the 4 that it would have been. And if he goes 4 here, he's now dead to 2 attacks from Chandra. He does. He can get Chandra to 1 that way, but that's not going to do it. So I don't know what his plan is here, but he's really on the ropes at this point. I don't know what he's going to have to come out of this. Brainstorm, if he can set up a bonfire, he could win that way, even if Chandra is taken care of. I don't know, because if he Crypt Rats here, he'd have to get them into play in a way that didn't cost him any life so that he could do it for 2, kill Chandra and the Chris Mage. Yeah, okay, that works. Animate Dead for the Crypt Rats. And Crypt Rats for 2 here. And then hope that Slug360 didn't set up a bonfire with that last Brainstorm, because if he did, that will be game. The Izumi Bone Reader coming back out. Alright, squee back to the hand. Temporal Mastery is what he set up there, alright. Maybe he can find a way to finish his opponent off with that. He's got 4 mana left to work with on this turn, and then he will have an extra turn. Waterfront Bouncer, alright. And then he's on his extra turn. Yeah, oh, he's got another Chandra, and that should do it. That should be 4 to the face for Nagarjuna. And that'll be it for Game 1. Slug takes it, and join me in just a moment for Game 2.